Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Kendra if this is your first time here, and I wanted to sit here and talk about what are my favorite brushes. So if you want to know what those are, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about which are going to be the eye brushes. I'm very precise about what I want my eye brushes to do for me, depending on the look that I'm doing, everything. All of that matters. This brush right here is a real flat brush. This one is the Morphe M224. This brush is what I use to conceal right underneath my brow area, like really be able to get as close and shape it out the exact way that I want it to go. This brush is really good for doing a really nice cut crease. You can use it to pat and pack eyeshadow onto your lids. This is like one of the best brushes for that. M504 Morphe brush. This brush is so amazing because it's fluffy. It's fluffy, but it's still like stiff. Like it's not too fluffy. So with this, you could pick the color up and you can kind of chisel out wherever you want. Like if you really want something to be very chiseled, but you still want to be able to buff it out at the same time. But if you do dip it in there, make sure to always tap it off because you can get really wrong really fast with this brush. Morphe, this one doesn't have a number on it, but if you have other brushes, it's a dupe honestly for the MAC 217 brush. It's very fluffy, just like this last brush. The last brush, the only difference is that this one is a little bit skinnier. So when I say, if I just told you this one can really get into the crease and deepen and move, imagine what this one does. This one does the same exact thing. It's just that this one is a lot more, what's the word? It's not as fluffy as this one. It does exactly what this does, but this picks up way more product. So if you really want to pick up a lot of product at one time and be able to spread and blend, this is the one that you want. Morphe 535 brush. This brush is amazing, okay? I use this brush a lot for when I am using my transition colors and I really want to, because it's so fluffy, I can just use it just to like pick up less product and be able to spread the color enough. Like it spreads it more instead of keeping it very like chiseled. It kind of just really buffs everything out. So when I use it, I just go back and forth, windshield wiper motion, just really buff it out. This is amazing. Okay, amazing. Oh, amazing. This brush is your M507 brush. This right here, this brush right here is your underdog. It's fluffy at the top, but the brush itself is very stiff. Like it doesn't move. It's very stiff. And if you really need to get into a crease area that you can't get to because the other brushes are too big, now this big body bends right here. She is the Morphe M504 brush. So this little mama right here, I use her for my eyes if I'm in a rush. Like if I don't want to use this brush, the M535 brush, but I'm more in a rush and I just want it to spread really quickly because I'm only going to do like a lid color and just a crease color. I'll use this brush, put, you know, a massive amount of color just in there, and it's able to build it because it's so fluffy that it's going to take a little minute to buff out, but I could just get the color in the crease real quick and then be done. This is her. Also, I don't do it anymore because I'm going to show you another brush that I use in transition of that. But this brush I used to use right under here for my concealer. I used to always use it for my concealer until I found a different brush, which I'm going to show you in a second. But this brush, I used to always be able to get right here in my concealer. And even when I'm setting it, like get it right in there. And this brush is the Morphe G36. Sorry guys, this is a little dirty because I had used it earlier. I tried to clean it just a little bit, just so it won't look so bad. But this is the G36 Morphe brush. This brush I like to use for foundation. I use this brush for foundation because it's really dense and I like airbrush finishes. So when I'm applying it, I'm doing more of like a circular motion. Like, you know, really buffing that foundation in. Because I don't really like the paintbrush because I feel like it leaves a little bit of a streaky film to it. So I don't really like to use that. I need to add a little bit more product, just put it just in that spot and just kind of blend it around. You feel me? Perfect freaking brush. I love these flat top looking brushes, dense brushes to put on foundation. It's the perfect thing. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, a lot of YouTubers using this. This one is the Real Techniques brush, and it's the Instapop brush. So with this one, it's still a dense brush, just like this one is. The only difference is it has an angle to it. So it's a lot easier to kind of buff in, and you can still do the circular motion just like I do with this brush, but I can kind of just, you know, spread it across it and then kind of like buff it in. Because of that angle, I can really smooth under here. I can get this way, you know, I can get in here, and it's a lot smaller compared to this. You see, like it's just a lot smaller, so it makes it a lot easier. But you know, this one is still my number one. But you know, this is the Beyonce and this is the Rihanna. Okay, like they're neck and neck. This right here, this is the Morphe M536. Her. No, I'm not even gonna say her. I'm gonna say him. This is my best friend. Okay, I love him. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because one, this brush, I use it for concealer, to highlight under here, all underneath here, and my you know, cupid's bow down here, all of that. I use it because one, it goes into like a dome situation. So it's kind of, it's not pointy, but it's just enough where this part right here is going to get really under here. And when I say this, if you're pushing and dabbing into, you know, dabbing the concealer, the highlighter into your eye, oh my God, this leaves an airbrush finish, okay? You're just dabbing it in and moving it around, moving the product around, and it spreads it so evenly. It's the best thing. This is the Real Techniques brush, and it's the setting brush. I use this because, like I said, it has this little rounded curvature situation right here, which I said, like the other one, it can get really, really close, like right in this little crevice, okay? Right in this crevice. I love it. And then if I wanted to highlight my nose, I could do that with this. Just get right there in that little crevice. Utmost favorite powder brush of all time. And I literally just found it maybe a week ago, okay? And she does everything that I want her to do. And yeah, she's it. Her name is the Morphe E1 brush, okay? Look at her. She's not dirty. This is the way she comes. This is exactly the way she comes. I love her. I'm gonna tell you guys why I love her. I love her because, you know, when you use fluffy brushes, how I feel like the product doesn't sit the way it needs to sit, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, yeah, it's on there, but it's not giving me the airbrush finish, and it's not giving me the, it's kind of like a whoop, 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 like, and then I look at it and I'm kind of like, you know, it's there, but it's like, it's just there, you know? Like, but this homegirl right here, she gives me, if you're a person who likes to use powder as like foundation, you use this and use it in a circular motion, you're going to get the coverage and you're going to get the flawless airbrush finish. This dense, fluffy brush right here, now her, she is going to sit the product on there, you move her in the direction that you want, and you're gonna get such a airbrush finish. The airbrush finish, like you get the powder, it's moving, it's all over. You see it's doing what it needs to do. It's setting everywhere. You know that you're setting everything. Like, you know, it's pushing the product in and moving and pushing it into the skin. I've had this brush for so long, I don't even know where I got her from. But she's an angled brush right here. And the best thing about her is that I can add my contour and I can add my bronzer. I can use this to put my highlight on. I can use this for my blush. I can use this brush for anything I want her to do, okay? Look at this. She's fluffy, but she has an angle. And she's not as, you know, what's the word? She's not as dense, but she still does the job, you know? Like, 2 brushes, okay? Both for 2 different things. This brush here is the Japanese brush. I don't even know what she's supposed to be used for, but I'm going to tell you what I use it for. And this brush is another brush, which I think is a Japanese brush. I think these brushes came together, if I'm not mistaken. I think these 2 came together. If they didn't come together, this came with another brush, but I feel like these 2 came together. So I think they're both Japanese brushes. Basically, this brush here, when I'm using cream, like a cream contour or anything like that, I use her to buff out my contour because it's still, like I said, it's that brush where it's real stiff down here, but up here, she's a lot more, what's the word? She's a lot more fluffy. But she's still dense enough where I can move the product without messing up the foundation and the powder and stuff that I have on. Like when I'm using cream, just really buff this in. Oh my God. Amazing. It's like airbrush century over here, okay? I use this brush to contour all through here, my nose. Like when I'm contouring my nose, I'll use it to buff out that contour because it's really small. It has the same effect that this does, the airbrush, and just the density. It has the fluffiness at the top. It's just something you could get right in here and just really buff. So these 2, I think are both Japanese. I think they came in 1 package, so go out and get those. This brush right here is the MAC 150. This brush is very, very fluffy. Like when you get it, it doesn't even look that fluffy. I think it's like this or something. Like it's really thin, but once you start using it, it starts spreading. But this I use if I'm using like a lot of mineral powder or something and I just want a little dash of it. You're somebody who doesn't even have like a whole bunch of foundation on, or you don't have like a whole bunch of anything, but you just want a dust of something. Like, or you're a person who already has a whole full face, but you just want like a little block powder or something just to dust on. You're going to use this big fluffy brush, swivel her around in there, tap off. And you're good. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. That's her job, okay? Is the Morphe M510. This brush only, is a brush that I use to add my highlight right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. This brush is a dupe for the Anastasia brush. I can't remember the number, but the brush that everybody uses from Anastasia to put on their highlight with, I use her. Okay, she was cheaper. She's just as fluffy, and she picks up enough highlighter where when you add it on there, she doesn't add too much. She doesn't pick up a whole lot of product. But when you swivel her in there, just 2 taps, just like that, just buff her in. Like, she's buffed to the gods. Like, you know, she's doing what she need to do. Like, she didn't come to play, you know. Toot toot, beep beep. She know what she want, boo. She another one that everybody sleeps on. She's coming for y'all next. She's stepping on next. Stepping on next. Okay? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.